Hey, this is Garrett with Sympliact, and today in this demo video, we're going to look at the patient-side registration flows using a mobile device in the patient application. The patient calls practice, establishes communication and care with that practice, and that practice creates an appointment for the patient, and usually gathers some basic demographic insurance information on the patient on that initial phone call. Once the patient's entered into their practice and an appointment's created, the patient will get some notification. So first, we're looking at a text message that the patient received from Hometown General Dentistry here, our test practice, inviting that patient, John, to connect with their practice using the Sympliact patient application, for which there's a link to the patient application URL in the notification. The notification also prompts the user that they need to register for that appointment and also provides a phone number to reach out to the practice in case they have any questions or need any help. Additionally, the patient will receive an email that has a confirmation of the appointment uh, date and time and who they're seeing. And as we scroll down, the system provides other prompts and information to the patient as is applicable to that appointment. In the email, similar to the text, the patient gets prompted to register for their appointment. There's a button, register for appointments, which will direct them to the patient application. And it also asks them to confirm this appointment if they're still able to make it. So in this case, what we're going to do is click the register for appointment button. We'll select Chrome and we'll be directed to the patient application. So at this landing screen, the patient can create an account if they haven't already, or log into their existing account. In this case, we're going to click the patient login button and we'll get logged into our uh, test patient account for John Long. So we landed on the profile screen. We see that the account owner is John Long, and we see that he's not currently managing any dependents, but has the ability to add dependents if needed. On his profile button there, it has an alert that we need to review an invitation to connect. So the system's going to guide the patient through the steps that they need to take to be successful. So if we click on John Long's profile button here, it's going to route us to his healthcare provider's screen, and it's going to take us through a little tutorial to help the user understand the different functionalities and ways in which they can use this provider screen. It shows them how to connect to a provider that's invited them. It shows them how to invite an existing provider, and it shows them how to invite another provider who may not have already entered them into their practice account. So we'll click Got it and in the tutorial, and then it shows us that we have a connection request from Hometown General Dentistry. So I'm going to click the Connect button. I can review information about that practice, providers, locations, and contact information. And if I agree with that connection request, I can click the Connect button again, which I'll do. At that time, the system gives us the ability to control our privileges to this particular practice. It defaults here to only share collaborating records. So any records that that practice is actively collaborating on, but I can select all records if I want to. In this case, we'll keep it on only collaborating records and we'll hit connect one last time. And then the system will go through the process of linking us to that practice. So now my patient account is directly linked to the practice account for me at Hometown General Dentistry. The system then immediately drops us into the authorizations, NOPP, and release of information privileges flow for that practice. So I can review the authorizations for Hometown General Dentistry here. If I agree to those, I can click the agree checkbox and it will immediately open the notice of privacy practices for me to review that section. So I can review the NOPP for that practice. Again, if I agree and want to confirm that I've received and reviewed that notice of privacy practices, I can click the checkbox and it's again advances me to the next section. In the release of information privileges, I can elect to add no one, or I can add a wife, a husband, a mom, a child, anybody that I am okay with this practice potentially sharing some of my health information with. So I've added Jane Doe. I'll click the checkbox to certify that section, and then we'll sign and hit finish. So after completing the authorizations in NOPP, it takes us back to the profile screen, and we can see we have another profile alert for John Long. It's essentially saying that our demographics and insurance section is not complete. So if I click on the profile button again for John Long, it's going to take me to that demographics and insurance flow. One of the things we'll notice is some of these sections are already completed. So this first section, personal info, there's no red alert, and this section is closed. That's because one of the very cool things is any information I've already given that practice on that initial phone call and they entered on their side is already populated to my account. So I'm not going to repeat that information or that data entry within my registration process like I would in a lot of traditional methods. So I'll expand the personal info section. We can see that that's already completed. Again, because the data was synced from the practice side. So we'll close it and then we'll continue through the flow. The system's going to walk us through each step. So next step is identification. So I can either click none or I can click add, and then it allows me to add a photo of my license. So I can choose from the photo library, choose a file, or in this case, we'll elect to take a photo of the license. So take a photo. I can review that. If I'm good with it, click use photo and move on to entering the data from the license. And we'll hit save. System again prompts or takes us to the next applicable section. It's skipped the contact info section for the same reason. We've already got the data from the practice side. So I can click edit here if I wanted to add an additional phone number or I needed to make an edit to address or something along those lines. But in this case, we'll say that our information is good and we'll just continue on to the next section. So emergency contact section, I can click none or I can click add, and I can add one or more emergency contacts to my account. So name, relationship, phone number. And then once I've added that one, again, I have the ability to add an additional one, or I can click submit if I'm done adding emergency contacts. From there, it takes me to the medical insurance section. We can see there's already a medical insurance policy listed on our account. Again, this is highlighting that sharing of data back and forth. So when we were on that initial phone call with the practice, we gave them some medical insurance data. They entered it on their side and it's populated here. So I don't have to re-enter that. If I click into that medical insurance policy, I can see all the data fields are filled out. But we obviously weren't able to share card photos over the phone. So I can, if I have a card similar to the driver's license, I can elect to add a photo of my card. So we'll do front, we'll do the back, and then we're done with that policy since we've already got all the data from the practice side. So I can hit save. And we're good. So if I had more than one medical insurance policy, I could add a second or a third. In this case, this is my only medical insurance policy, so I'm going to hit submit. Then it takes us to the dental insurance section. We didn't give the practice dental insurance information on the initial phone call, but let's say I do have a policy. I just didn't have the information with me when I was on the phone. So I'm going to add just a complete a policy from scratch for the dental. So in this case, we'll add photos again using our test insurance cards here. Front, back, and then we'll enter the data for that policy. We'll enter the phone number off of the card. Not all of this is required data. So if it's already on the card, then it's not always necessary to enter it, but we'll enter it for this demo's sake. And then down when we get to the subscriber section, there's some features that allow quick entry of data. So if I'm the subscriber on this policy, then the system already has all my information. So all I have to do is hit I'm the subscriber button. It's going to populate all that data for me so I don't have to retype stuff I've already entered previously. And then whether I'm the subscriber or my wife's the subscriber, if the address for whoever the subscriber is the same as mine, then similarly, I can just hit same as mine, populates that information. I don't have to repopulate. And then we'll enter employer for the subscriber, hit save or submit. And there we've got our dental insurance policy added. So similarly, I could add a second policy if I have one, or I can just hit submit in this case, and it'll take me to the vision section. In this case, I'm just going to hit none for vision. And once we finish our demographics and insurance flow, the system again is going to automatically take us to the next applicable step, in this case, the health history flow. So the health history flow is very unique. It's been designed in a very intentional and purposeful way to make data entry as easy and quick as possible for patients, but also augment and assist the patients in that process so that we get as accurate, as clean, as structured a data set as possible so that um, we can use that data to make the further interactions more powerful and use that data in a truly valuable manner. So the first section we start with is medications. So it asks, do you take any medication or medicine, supplements, or herbs on a regular basis? If we click yes, it's going to take us to a search interaction. So the search interaction is autocomplete, has autocomplete functionality. So usually I only have to type a few letters of what I'm looking for, and the system's going to show me what I'm looking for. Additionally, it has spell checking functionality. So in this case, again, I accidentally mistyped what I was looking for, but the system's able to give me a prediction on what it thinks I'm looking for. So I can select lisinopril, which is what I was looking for. And then it has both brand and generic names built in. So regardless of what the patient's looking for, it's guiding them to find what they need. So let's say this is my whole medicine list. I can click the button at the bottom right, my list is complete. And then that medication section is done. So now we'll move down to medical history, which is the next section with an alert. And the system tells us that it's predicted a list of medical conditions for me based on what it knows about me. So for this section, I can hit the button review predictions. It's going to take me to a screen that gives me what it's predicting I may have been diagnosed with based on what it knows about me so far. So based on my age, my sex, my medication list, etc. It's given me a prediction. So I can go through this, select any of them that do apply to me, and hit done. It then takes me to the same search interaction that we had for medicines in case there's something else that, exists that it didn't technically, uh, predict. So I can add any additional medical issues that I didn't click on in the prediction interaction. So let's say now my medical list or medical history list is complete. I click my list is complete again. That gets registered and we move on. Each section is going to have similar predictions, again, based on what the system knows about us. Going to give us some predictions. If any of them are actually accurate, we can click on those and boom, it's added without us having to search. The system also has built into it both professional and layman's terms. So let's say I've had a cholecystectomy or gallbladder removal. I can search for either one. So it's got gallbladder removal, or if I search for the more precise or formal medical term, and even if I mistype it again, we've got the spell check functionality that allows me to find what I'm looking for. So my surgery list is complete, so I'll click complete and move down. Allergies, similarly, some of the most common allergies for this particular patient. So both medications, materials, and potential food allergies have some, again, most common predictions here. So I can select any that apply, click I'm done. Similarly, search for additional allergies if there are any. In this case, we'll say this covers everything. We'll click my list is complete. And then we'll move down to the last section that still has a red alert, family history. Similarly, predictions functionality. Let's say in this case, none of these actually apply. I can click I'm done. But let's say I do have some medical or some family history that the predictions didn't catch, I can search, add whatever I need to, hit my list is complete. And then now we can see all of the alerts are gone in the medical history or the health history section. The alert at the top tab is done. And so we are complete with our registration process. So that's all it is to registering on the patient side. Very quick, very straightforward. We're sharing data back and forth to decrease the redundancies and the waste and the frustrations of um, this duplicate data entry and work that's often occurring with the traditional ways of doing things. And we're doing it in such a way that we're getting a very structured, very actionable, very functional history that we can take and move forward with in a very meaningful manner. So that's that. Patient side flows for registration with some context added in during the process. Hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. And if you have any questions, reach out to us. Let us know. We'd love to help. Thanks.